We all have some aspect of our life that we'd like to see different, even if we don't like to admit it, be it our relationship, our career, our coping mechanisms, our way of interacting with the world, or our way of viewing the world. Sometimes we can have quite a cynical view of the people around us, or indeed a very cynical and critical view of ourselves. But it's funny that oftentimes the thing that we want to let go of the most is the thing that we fixate on and hold on to and attach to the tightest. And it's really important to acknowledge that just because you're struggling to change something, this does not make you a failure. It does not mean that you're doing anything wrong. So, show yourself a bit of compassion here. It actually indicates that your brain is doing the job that it's meant to do. As I always say, your brain doesn't give a shit whether or not you're happy. It just wants to keep you alive. And in order to keep you alive, it sticks with what it knows. So there's a certain almost comfort blanket effect to what has gone before, even if it's no longer serving its purpose or helping us in any way. When we have felt a certain way, when we have done things a certain way, or when we have been in a certain situation or relationship for long enough, we actually begin to identify with it. It becomes part of almost who we are, and that takes a lot of work to undo. There's also the risk element of stepping into the unknown, stepping out of your comfort zone, and leaving yourself vulnerable. So there's a lot to overcome when it comes to letting things go. When it comes to negative thoughts and emotions, it's important to remember as well that letting go does not mean that you're just giving up, or does not mean that you're forgetting. It just means that you're relinquishing the control, that you're allowing to have something over your life, over your mood, over your general well-being. So it's important to look at your expectations, to look at your expectations of what letting go is actually is going to involve. That it's not going to be straightforward, that it's going to be maybe one step forward, two steps back. It's also important to look at your expectations of yourself. Be compassionate with yourself, be kind to yourself, but also your expectations of others. I mean, so much stress and anxiety is caused by us assuming the way that other people should act and the way that other people should react. And the thing is, we have no control over anybody but ourselves. The only person we can work on is ourselves. So we need to put our focus on that. Accept your flaws and mistakes. I mean, none of us are perfect, and I think we all go around assuming that we have to come across like successful people. And the reality is, we're all just anxious, stressed out bunnies. So give yourself a break for what you see as your flaws. Practice cautious optimism. I mean, yes, always assume the best, but also make provisions for the worst, and allow for the fact that you're going to experience negative feelings at times during your life. You have to honor them. You're going to feel sadness, you're going to feel anger, you're going to feel guilt, you're going to feel shame. And the more you acknowledge these and process them as they crop up, the less they're going to get you down. Tap into your negative thoughts and your self-limiting beliefs. I mean, we have this continuous monologue telling us that we cannot achieve certain things, that we cannot do a certain thing. And again, that's your brain just paving the way for keeping things the same. So you really need to stay on top of that, hone in on the internal critic and turn things around. So whatever that voice is saying to you, make sure that you're saying the opposite back. Relinquish your need for perfectionism and your need for control. I mean, ultimately, as I said, very little in your control bar your own thoughts, your own behaviors. So stay on top of them, and just accept other people the way they are as much so as possible. Kindness to self, kindness to others. Try and switch your focus as often as possible to the more positive aspects of your life, and find appreciation for them. This can be difficult when you're in a negative mindset. So I'm not going to undermine it by saying you're just going to be able to switch that shit off, because it doesn't happen like that. It's a discipline. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of conscious effort, and it takes a lot of self-awareness. But the only way you get better at it is by practicing it. Most of all, forgive yourself. I mean, we can be so fucking hard on ourselves at times. It's unbelievable. I have this like continuous critical monologue going on, and I always have to pull myself back and be like, do you know what, Fiona? You're doing your best. You have to believe that everybody else is doing their best. And try to carry that thought with you throughout the day, because if you don't stay on top of those thoughts, they will drown you.